Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity. Let me introduce myself. My name is Husnul Makrima as a moderator for today's presentation. So Group 5 consists of 3 presenters. They are Cipta Kurniawan, and then the second one is Muhammad Reza and Lutfiari Erlianto. And Mr. Cipta Kurniawan, who's the one is right now on the field. Mr. Cipta, can you hear me?
Yes, clear, Mbak.
Okay, thank you. So this group will bring a discussion topic about Nusa Tenggara Timur Energy Transition Outlook 2022. And this presentation will be conducted for 40 minutes ahead with the time allocation of 20 minutes, the first 20 minutes for the given presentation materials, and then the second 20 minutes along with the discussion. So without any further ado, are you ready, Group 5?
Yes.
Okay, let's get started. For the Group 5, time and place are yours.
Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. We are from Group 5. Today, we would like to present about the Nusa Tenggara Timur Energy Transition Outlook in 2022. So, we are from Group 5. Let me introduce ourselves. My name is Cipta Kurniawan, and my partner is Muhammad Reza and Lutfiari Erlianto. The outline of our presentation, we will discuss about the introduction, and then the energy demand, and then transformation, and then energy supply, conclusion, and the reference. So I will start from the introduction of the Nusa Tenggara Timur overview. So Nusa Tenggara Timur, or we call it NTT, is a province of Indonesia that located in the Nusa Tenggara Island, in the west area of the Nusa Tenggara Island. This province, capital city is Kupang, which has 22 kabupaten, and then this province has the population rate more and less 5.3 people with the kepadatan penduduk around 111 people within kilometer square. Next, Mas. So this is the power grid system planning that established in the Nusa Tenggara Timur, which has 150 kilovolt and 70 kilovolt high voltage design in the Timor, Flores, and Sumba Island. So this is the three island that has established power plant development system currently in Nusa Tenggara Timur. So in more detail, there are around 63 power plant that already developed in the Nusa Tenggara Timur, which is coal firing power plant or PLTU, and then gas engine power plant, and then diesel engine power plant. So there are three the most dominant power plant in the existing in the Nusa Tenggara Timur. But there is also another renewable energy development in the entity, such as PLTS, and then micro hydropower generation, and then geothermal energy power generation. So within 2020, based on the PLN database, within 2021, there are 88% of the energy development in the Nusa Tenggara Timur, while the rest we call there are 12% non-electricity area. Okay, this is the current condition of the Nusa Tenggara Timur, that everybody already know that Nusa Tenggara Timur has a very famous island. We call it Komodo Island, which is the one of the 7 wonder in Indonesia and in the world for exactly. And also Nusa Tenggara Timur has a diving spot area in the Alor, Rote, and Bajo Islands. We believe that this tourism sector will need more power to promote and then to promote Indonesia tourism in the world. So we believe that there will be 5-star or 5-star or 4-star hotel, villa, and resort that will be developed in the Nusa Tenggara Timur, because this is the very interested island beside Bali and Lombok. So another concern is another potential in the Nusa Tenggara Timur. It has the potential of hydro around 624 megawatt, and also geothermal potential power around 627 megawatt. So this will be supporting the renewable energy development in this region. Another thing that we need to know, that there is one island in Nusa Tenggara Timur that our government plan as the strategic development project, national strategic development project in the Pulau Sumbawa, because Pulau Sumbawa will be the iconic island for the renewable energy in Indonesia. Okay, our group will do the energy transition outlook by using the LEAP application. LEAP is a low emission analysis platform application. Formerly, it stands for long range energy alternative planning system, but now it's already alternate become the low emission analysis platform. This application already developed by Stockholm Environment Institute. So there are 3 modules that we need to that will be our source of modeling. There is a demand, transformation, and supply. So this is the LEAP overview. As you can see from the left side, there is a model 3 that consists of key assumption, and then demand, and then transformation and resource. Those 4 items that we need to be collected. In this case, we will adopt from Nusa Tenggara Timur RUET to develop the forecast up to 2060. And the last slide. There are some key assumptions that we will present here. The bottom line is there are two key assumptions actually, which namely demography and macroeconomy. So maybe these are that I can explain by today, and then the next presentation will be continue to my partner. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Cipta, for the introduction, and I will continue this presentation. Good morning, everyone, and happy weekend. We have conducted energy modeling in Nusa Tenggara Timur. We want to know the energy projection to reach the net zero emission in 2060. So we use the 2021 as a reference year, and then we do conduct the energy modelings, the projections till 2060. Okay, before we are going to more detail in how we get the energy demand and then transformation and then energy supply, we have to know the key assumption for our energy modelings. So our key assumption consists of demography and macroeconomy. The first is income, and then population, household size, household GRDP, and then income growth rate, population growth rate, and your urbanization. Okay, we use three scenario for this energy modeling. We use RUET as a baseline. RUET is Nusa Tenggara or Nusa Tenggara Timur for 2090 till 2050, and then we use business as usual to know the difference from the RUET that established since 2090. In our scenario, in the business as usual, there are economic growth because it is very influence the energy demand, because the human index development is based on the electricity per capita. So the economic growth is very influenced to our modeling. And then demography, demand growth, energy production, and power plant. Power plant is very interesting because there are Perpres 112 in 2022. There are retirement of power plant, no new power plant since 2022. So we include in the business as usual. And then we use RUPTL PLN 2021 till 2030. From this scenario, we know how the energy supply will increase or energy demand will decrease or increase, and several variables. And then we use energy transition that influence the step to reach the net zero emission in 2060. Our energy transition, there are three that we use as a scenario. For the first is solar power. We estimate that in 2060 there are growth rate for solar power or solar PV in 12%. And then there are wind turbine in 2024 for 30 megawatts, and then geothermal power plant, the increasing 30 megawatt in 2024. From this scenario, we want to know the energy demand, transformation, and energy supply. Okay, this is our finding that we have conducted energy modeling using LEAP. For the first is energy demand. In the energy demands, our balance level, there are four our balance level. For the first is household, and then industry, business, and public. In industry, there are several many industry that we use only one group industry, and then business and public. In household, the ratio electrification in Nusa Tenggara Timur in 2021 is 88.4%. So in this scenario, we split the brands of household into electrified and non-electrified. This will influence the energy modeling because there are increasing in ratio electrification in 2022 till 2060. And then we use the energy intensity to modeling this energy demand. And then this is the transmission and distribution will continue for my colleagues, Lutfieri Ilanto. Thanks, yours.
Okay, thank you. I will show the presentation. Yeah. For the study from LIAP, we can see that we use losses variable from year to 2020 and 2060. In 2021, we use historical data losses 12%, and then in 216 we use variable losses from the target that we have from input data in RUEN or RUKN or RUPTL. We use 9%. From this variable data, we can see that the graph, we can see in two scenario, baseline and energy transition. The energy transition KWH supply from megawatt, there is an increase between comparing with the baseline scenario. From here, we can see also that the losses, variable losses that we input in lab study in 2016 more accurate or more better before 2021. So there is the increase from the scenario and then more better in energy transition for energy supply. Next. In here we can see that in our team member we input different variable ya in this scenario. One is scenario baseline and second is energy transition. For the existing coal, we use that retirement of coal power plant in 2045 and then 2016. There are 47 megawatt retirement for the coal power plant, and in year 2016 their retirement for 30 megawatt coal power plant. For the energy transition, we use also same expression for the scenario for the coal power plant. In diesel power plant, in here in baseline and energy transition, we use also retirement for the diesel power plant with the program didieselisasi. In here we use three scenario. One in year 2023, we retirement 40 megawatt diesel power plant, and then in year 2025 we retirement 30 megawatt, and then 2013 we retirement 25 megawatt diesel power plant, and then 2014 we also retirement 45 megawatt. This scenario we also give to energy transition for diesel power plant, because we know that diesel power plant have a retirement and use fuel fossil, and then we must to retire them to transition to renewable energy. For the solar and hydro, we use a different scenario that in energy transition for the solar, we give grow 12% for the energy transition, because we believe that retirement for the coal power plant and diesel power plant will be increase the use of renewable energy like solar power PV. And then we also give energy transition for grow for hydropower plant, because we consider for the retirement of coal power plant and also diesel power plant, or we can hear the dieselisasi program. In the future, in East Nusa Tenggara, there is also wind energy that installment in the program 30 megawatt. That value we also inputted for energy transition scenario. From there, we can see that the graph or the graphic that the scenario of energy transition is more better than baseline scenario. Next. Now, in here, in this display, we can see also the graph for the differences or comparing for the two scenario. One is business as usual scenario, and then the other is energy transition scenario. From this graph, we can see that the use of fossil fuel for energy to the power plant like coal and then diesel is still stable in business as usual scenario. But in energy transition scenario, we can see that the use of the renewable energy like solar, PV, and hydro power plant is more increased than the fossil power plant. And then we can see the retirement for the diesel power plant and also coal power plant is will be reducing in 2024 in year 2024 next in East Nusa Tenggara Timur. From here, we can see that the scenario of the energy transition is more better than the business as usual scenario. Next.
Sorry, Mr. Lutfi and Mr. Reza, for interrupting the presentation. Because the time is up, I'll give you 5 minutes for extra time. Is that enough?
Okay.
Enough.
Yeah.
Enough.
Take your time.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. From the conclusion, we can give that in future study, we must to consider the data analysis for demand level brands for industry, tourism, commercial, public, and household. Because the tourism and commercial and public in our our analysis or simulation for LEAP, the data may be not good enough, but for the industry and households is we use real data and historical data. For the future scenario, we also consider for the Paris Agreement and net zero emission, and also we use a pessimist scenario for the economic growth, and also maybe for the electrification ratio. And then we also use a scenario about energy mixing target realization for the new RUPTL for and also consider with RUKN and then RUEN. Next. Thank you guys for this our team presentation. Maybe I come back to moderator.
Okay, thank you for all the presenters for this insightful and interesting result about Nusa Tenggara Timur Energy Transition Outlook for 2022. And we come to the next part of this presentation, which is discussion. If there's any question that you want to be delivered, please come forward and deliver your question through the microphone.
I want to ask a question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Please
yeah.
mention your identity.
My name is Lintang. I want to ask a question. Why in the diesel power plant scenario it's omitted?
Okay. And
Okay.
I get it. Okay.
Mas.
Okay. Thank you for the question. So we have the data and the scenario that there is the desalination program in Indonesia. The diesel power plant is retired and then convert into the renewable energy power plants. Maybe you can add the reason why there is a desalination program.
Okay. The desalination program is from the Green Booster program. Green Booster program is from the RUPTL program or from the PLN strategic issue, yeah. And then the desalination program is also from the main program for ESDM or Ministry of Energy. When we look in East Nusa Tenggara Timur, there is a many diesel power plant that is Nusa Tenggara Timur have. The diesel is installed to the communal or isolated island. So there is many isolated island in East Nusa Tenggara Timur that have a backbone electricity with diesel engine. But the use of diesel engine is not cheap, yeah, because the energy primer is from the fossil, and then now we must to have mandatory B30. But B30 is consist of 70% use of fossil fuel. So because of that, to increase the energy mix in East Nusa Tenggara Timur, we must to transition the use of diesel power plant with the renewable energy like PV or biomass or the wind power plant. Maybe that's
Yes,
for the answer.
Yes, maybe enough for the question.
Is there any feedback from Mas Lintang? Yeah, okay, thank you. I will open the second question because we have several times left. Anyone? Yeah, please come forward and deliver your question through the microphone. Don't forget to mention your identity.
Okay, thank you. I want to ask about the transmission loss. 2021, you said the transmission loss is 11%, and until that in 2050, you said it's reduced to 9%. So my question is, how can you modeling about the transmission? Because in your presentation, your input is just about the energy intensity or a capacity power plant and customer amount. I just confused what is the modeling of the transmission loss. Thank you.
Itu menurutnya kemana?
Ini loh input. Harusnya nyampe ke sini.
Total energy supply.
Okay, silakan jawab.
Okay, thank you for the question, Mr. Reinhold. So the transmission and distribution grid losses is in 11% in 2021. It's influence the energy supply because there is losses in transmission and distribution. From this loss, it affect the energy supply that distribute into the consumer. In 2021, Indonesia is approximately 11%, and we project the energy modeling till 2060 in 9% because the grid system in Indonesia is just the old technology. Yes.
So it's mean the transmission loop improve means for the total power supply with all demand.
Yes.
Okay.
It can influence the energy that can supply to the consumer. Maybe it's unmatched or it's excess energy. Yes, like that.
Okay. Is that clear? Yeah, thank you. Due to the time limitation, I will. Is that enough?
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay. Hope everyone give the advantage of this material of this presentation. And do you want to give closing remarks on?
Okay. This is the preliminary study, and this is not the end of our report. There will be a future projection and future study, and you can access the final report by our publication in the next time. Thank you very much.
Okay.